Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is sort of part 2. So we've already done the video on how to check the rope and make sure that it's safe and it's not damaged internally. If you haven't watched that, we'll put a link up here somewhere. So today's video we're going to carry on. So we identified that a section of our rope was pretty worn last time, the section that's been taking all the falls. And since it's quite close to the end of the rope, we're going to cut that off. So we'll show you guys how to do that, and then we're going to go through how to wash the rope and how to dry the rope, because there's definitely some things we need to think about for washing and drying ropes to make sure it's done safely. To cut our rope, there's a few ways you can do it. You can either do it with a purpose designed rope cutting hot knife, but most people haven't got one of those, in which case get yourself a bit of wood that you don't mind damaging slightly, and an old metal knife. And what we're going to do is we're going to heat this up. It doesn't matter if the knife's sharp or not, is we're going to melt through the rope to cut it and to seal it as we go. The best way to heat it up is with a gas stove. So if you've got gas hobs, then they work really well. If you haven't got one of those, then a little gas camping stove works just as well. Right, let's go get the knife hot. So we're heating the knife up in the flames. If you've got a knife with a wooden handle, you're probably alright holding it. If your knife's got a metal handle, it's going to get hot. So it's worth wrapping it in something, but just be careful not to set fire to whatever you've wrapped it in. And what we're aiming to do is get the knife really hot so it's actually glowing. So we've got the knife nice and hot. It's worth doing this outside because it does produce some not very nice smoke, and yeah, you don't really want to breathe it in. So we're just going to put our knife on, and we don't need to do too much push or anything like that. We're just going to basically allow the knife to melt through. So once it's cut through, I just like to melt the edges a little bit. This helps seal that in. Makes it easier to thread when you're tying your knot. That means you don't get any free bits working out if you just melt the edges and work them in a little bit. So there we go, it should be fairly neat. Make sure there's no loose frays coming out, and there's no sort of bits that are going to get caught on the edges when you're using that to thread your rope. Alright, job done. So next thing we're going to look at is cleaning the rope, and cleaning your rope is quite important. If your rope's dirty, then it's going to wear an awful lot quicker. All those little bits of grit and sand and things like that can get into a rope, can become quite sharp, and they're just going to mean both the rope wears quicker, but also then when the rope starts rubbing against your bits of gear, your gear's going to wear out quicker as well. Also, if you've been climbing on any sea cliffs or near the sea, you can end up with salt on the rope. And again, salt dries into salt crystals, which again can be quite sharp within the rope. So if you've been climbing in any coastal regions, then it's super important to wash your ropes as well. So what we're going to do is we'll go through how to wash it and how to dry it safely, and a few little tips that we can throw in just to make it a little bit easier. To make it a bit more manageable and so it doesn't get as tangled up when washing, I just do a very loose sort of double daisy chain on it, just to make it easier to handle and doesn't get as tangled. So if you've not done that before, it's tie a very loose overhand knot, and then just pull 2 strands through and just keep working through the rope. Fairly quick to do, and it's even quicker to undo, but makes it a lot easier to handle. But it does want to be quite loose because we don't want any sections of the rope that aren't going to get washed. So we're at the end. Again, I just tie a very loose little knot in there, and then just makes it the whole rope a lot shorter and easier to handle. Once we've done that, what we need is something to wash it in. Quite often I've washed it in the bathtub before, that's fine. So we're going to use this today. I'm just going to give it a rinse first, get the worst of it off. Give it a good rinse, give it a good spray, wiggle it about a little bit, and then we'll empty the water and repeat that process. Giving it the initial rinse, empty this out, bring it back into the tub and refill the tub, and then I like to leave it to soak for a good while, just giving it a bit of a shake every so often. That will give, if you have got any salt or any bits on there, that gives it plenty of time to sort of dissolve and work its way out of the rope. So I'm just using normal water. You've got to be careful if you are going to use soaps, because a lot of them are too harsh to use on your climbing rope, and to be honest, I've never really found the need to use any soaps or detergents. The dirt that's on the rope is just bits of dust and sand and bits like that, so I'm not sort of trying to dissolve oils or food stains or things like that. So I've always found just normal water works fine. You can use warm water when you're doing this, that's fine if you're using a shower and you're in the bathtub, but yeah, you don't want any boiling water. Once it's had a bit of time to soak, we'll come back to it. So this has been soaking quite a while now. We've given it a good rinse around, got all the stuff out as much as we can. So what we need to do now is dry the rope. So to dry the rope, what we need to do is basically hang it up so it's kind of supported. What we don't want is wet ropes are really heavy, and if it's left sort of dangling, if you just tied it one end to one end and left it dangling, it would stretch the rope out and the rope would lose some of its elasticity. The other thing is we want to make sure that where we hang it up to dry is not in direct sunlight, because again that will degrade the rope faster. So somewhere in the shade, and so the rope's fairly supported. Again, I leave it daisy chained up like this, because then there's less strain on the rope and it's easier to manage. So we've got a clothes horse here, so I'm just going to start. Laying it over, and we'll make sure this stays in the shade and let that drain and drip for a while. So you can see the colour of the water. So that's all the dirt. That's all the dirt that was on our rope. It's amazing how much dirt comes off. Even a rope that looks fairly clean actually can contain quite a lot of dirt. We'll let that dry out for a bit. So we've had our rope drying for quite a while now. It's all dried out nicely. Make sure it's completely dry before you do put it away. And now we can undo our little daisy chains that we did. So starting at the end where we finished last time, we can just undo that loose knot we tied. And now just run the rope through. And what you'll see is that as you pull it, each of the little chains we did will undo. So once we've done this, then we always keep our ropes in a rope bag, because it helps look after them and it means that they don't need to be washed as often. Always super important, put a knot in the end of your rope. If you're storing your rope, then yeah, I mean, we like to store our ropes in a rope bag, but it's important you store them somewhere where it's out of direct sunlight, and that they're stored safely away from any kind of chemicals. If you keep them in your car boot and things like that, make sure they're not near petrol cans or oils or any other kind of chemical substances, battery acid and things like that. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, leave us a comment below. We do other various videos and tutorials, so check those out, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.